joined once again by Dean Whyte.
How you doing?
Dean, what do you make of that? Daniel Dubois just knocked out Nathan Gorman in 5 rounds.
In great fashion, you know. He's a young man, he's got his whole career ahead of him, 21, you know what I mean? But he's still got a lot of learning to do. But that was a great knockout, you know what I mean? He engaged too much a little bit, but that's just inexperience, you know what I mean? But like I said, it's an entertaining fight for the fans, and that's what they come. They pay their money to see great knockouts like that. So, you know, there we have it.
Where is Daniel Dubois now at this level? He's obviously knocked out in 5 rounds.
He's at British level. He just won a British title. That's where he is. He's not at world level with the rest of the guys. He is only 21. He's got a big career ahead of him, you know what I mean? But listen, at the end of the day, if he listens to his trainer, listens to the promoters, these guys match him right. Listen, he's got a hell of a jab. When he used that jab, bam, piercing jab, double jab, right hand, he looks real, the real package. But when you look at the inside work, he's not up there with the best of the elite guys. I think if he was fighting someone like Bryant Jennings, obviously if he hit him, he's got the power. But Bryant Jennings, for me, the schooling he gave Joyce today, for me, was very good. I thought it was going to either be a master stroke by Joyce's guys by picking this fight, or, you know, a bad mistake. And it looks like, for me, it was a bad mistake. The hometown decision, that's what I thought it was. I apologise for changing the subject. But you know, that kind of thing, I'm looking at the landscape. If he fought Bryant Jennings is sort of like somewhat of a gatekeeper, because look, he's lost his last 3 fights, you know what I mean? What do you think Dubois would look like against Bryant Jennings? What do you think? You know what I'm saying? So in terms of world level, he's not there yet. So that's where I was trying to get the comparison from. But listen, he's got a long way to go. But like I said, he's got the fundamental basics. That jab is beautiful. He's got big power. He's got a nice right hand. He just needs to keep evolving and growing. He'll only get stronger. He'll only get better. You know what I mean? Good matchmaking. Let's see how it all turns out.
What about for Nathan Gorman? Obviously not his night tonight, but he's very young, as you say, like Daniel Dubois. He can come back, can't he?
Nathan Gorman will go back to the drawing board. He'll go back and watch the fight and see where he came out short. What he done in that fight, he fought Dubois' fight. He kept exchanging too much. That was a bigger, stronger, hungrier man. Why the hell would you go and fight his fight in exchange? I think he should have been smart early, used his jab, used the ring, and tried to go to the body for Daniel, try and slow him down, you know what I mean? But he couldn't stop the tide. Daniel just kept coming forward like the juggernaut, and it was on him. But listen, easier said than done from outside, you know what I mean?
You mentioned Joyce. He won obviously by unanimous decision tonight, but you seem to think that Bryant Jennings had that win?
I had him ahead, sorry, and a few people here had him ahead. I'm sure you heard the crowd's response to that. They weren't happy. Listen, 10 rounds. What fight were they watching? How did you think? I don't know how you had it. Maybe you had him ahead a little bit, but 10 rounds ahead. The first 2 rounds, bless you, the first 2 rounds, I had him, then Joyce came back 2 rounds after, and then he came. It was a close fight, but there's no way that Joyce won that by 10 rounds. I'm sorry, I'm not going to put him down, because I like Joyce, I like Sam Jones and them. They're good guys, but for me, he lost that fight. But listen, he got the win. He can move forward and learn from that. And he looks like he's learned a little bit with Adam, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So let's see how it goes.
So where do you think Joyce can go from here? Obviously mandatory for Manuel Child's belt and the European title, but is he at that world level? Do you think he's got a...
Listen, he's a strong bruiser, as you can see. He keeps coming forward. He's the juggernaut. He can punch. He's got a great chin. So he's going to be hard for anyone who goes in front of him. You can't knock him out. You might end up losing, because he's going to keep punching. He's not going to, you know what I mean? He's going to keep punching. So he's the juggernaut. So he's got a chance, you know what I mean, with those level of guys. But I think when you talk about the really, when you talk about the really elite level, it's something totally different. You know what I mean? That's for me. But like I said, he's still got a lot of learning to do. But I'll tell you what, I'll give him credit. They're marching him on really, really fast. So this is an excellent win for him, and he's continued to grow. Before it was use enough. We can't ask for more than that, man. Listen, he's got some really good names under his belt in such a short time in his career. You can't say more than that. He's beating who's in front of him.
Now, the O2 is pretty much a sellout tonight, but next week it's going to be even bigger. Obviously, your brother Dillian Whyte faces Oscar Rivas. How's your brother feeling about next week?
He's feeling good. He's feeling great, man. Listen, he's training, as you know. If you watch his Instagram, he show he lives a life. He's eating well. He's very, very strong. He's a man with purpose and desire, you know. So what you see is he is someone that wants this world title shot. So nothing's going to stand in his way for him to get that opportunity. You know what I mean? Rivas is a strong guy. He's undefeated. He's got knockout power. But what we're going to see next week is, big man, what we're going to see next week is the real deal, the can man, Dillian Whyte, and he's going to come and bring the pain. And we're going to see a spectacular knockout next week. You know what I mean? How you doing, bless you? Good, yeah? We're going to see a spectacular knockout next week. That's just. So next week, everyone tune in. If you can't come here, watch it on TV. Or what we're going to have is the can man doing his best and go out there and put on a performance. What we know with my bro Dillian Whyte, he's got a head of a chin, he's got a head of a left hook. He's actually got underestimated jab. You know what I mean? But what we know from Rivas, he's undefeated. He's a power punch. He's got 18 knockouts. So what that makes for, how you doing, sir? What that makes for, how you doing, sir? What that makes for is a great firework fight. He's going to come, bring the pain. So we're going to have an electrifying atmosphere, just like here today. Today was a great atmosphere. Next week will be even better.
You mentioned how tough Bryant Jennings was tonight, and Oscar Rivas knocked out Bryant Jennings. That just shows how difficult it is for your brother next week to get the win.
But you're talking about smaller guys with a little bit more experience than Joe. Joe's still got a lot of experience. He's being rushed because of his age. You know what I mean? He was an elite, I think, amateur. But what it is, it's different in the pro games. You're going to have guys with goal and skill like we saw Bryant Jennings. There was times in there Bryant Jennings was so sick underneath Bob and he couldn't even hit him. And he hit him with some peach of a left hooks and uppercut. There was one that skinned him late in the fight. So you can see there's guys in the heavyweight division that are small. And to be honest, he didn't even look like a heavyweight. He was just real small. When Joe laid on him, you couldn't even see where's Brian gone. You know what I mean? But I mean, listen, he got the win. He moves forward. You know what I mean? Brother man, best love you. He moves forward, and we'll see. But I don't believe he's at world level yet because I'd like to see him against Povetkin. I know they want to fight him, but Povetkin's actually a real beast. He's got a hell of a left hook as well. We saw what he done when he caught Joshua with that. I'd like to see because he's got a hell of a chin, Jojo. So let's see what happens. It's all there for it to be played out. These guys, they're a little bit below the other guys. But like I said, Joyce, he's doing really good. He's picking great fights and he's marching on. Let's see where he can go.
Finally, I can't let you go without talking about what happened this week between Dillian and Tyson Fury. You've sort of become sort of the mediator, I think it's fair to say, when this things happened with Lawrence Okoli calling out Dillian. You were there. You saw Tyson Fury ringside tonight. Did you say anything? What have you made of the whole situation?
He was like, do you know? So I was just laughing because I was saying, I'm happy Dillian wasn't here. You know, he seemed in a good mood. He was friendly. I just said, hey, you know, do your thing. I'm happy my bro weren't here because if they was engaging in something, it could have went left. They was fighting next week. Let's keep the energy right, the good energy. We don't need no negativity. The energy needs to be safe for Rivas. Tyson Fury, what a hell of a fighter, lineal champ. Credit to him, he's done what he's done. He's made comeback. You know, later on down the line, let's see what happens with those guys. But for me, I'm just trying to keep my bro's head in the right place because he has a little screw loose at times and he wants to fight everyone. Not everyone, but he does. He's a cameraman. He wants to fight everyone. But what I mean is, I don't want him fighting out here for free so, and getting himself injured or banned. You know, that kind of thing.
Well, Dean Whyte, as always, thanks very much for talking for Seconds Out and roll on next week.
Roll on next week, guys.
Cheers, Dean.